Welcome into the Players Club, presented by Pepsi. The Players Club is presented by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. And in part by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. Now for your hosts, London Fletcher, Santana Moss, and Sean Springs.
Welcome to another edition of the Players Club, episode 2. First of all, we want to thank all the fans for your love and support on last week's episode. Got off to a great start.
Great start.
With our new co-host, Sean Springs, a.k.a. Bluefoot.
The professional.
the professional.
There you go.
My partner in crime, Santana Moss, man. Nice little change up.
Yeah. Feel like we at home in the bubble, too.
Yeah.
We okay. We good.
Show them a little something different.
Yeah, a little
what I mean?
something.
They ain't usually seeing us
Speaking of
like that.
change-ups,
Yeah.
we got a new segment, a little change-up. We're going to call this Dubs of the Week. And with Dubs of the Week, each one of us going to pick, it could be a coach, a player, analyst, anybody who you feel like have had a dub of the week. Blue, let's start with you, man. Who is your dub of the week?
Does it have to be a player or a coach?
It can be whoever you want.
Whatever you want.
Anybody you want.
I think for me, the dub of the week is college football.
Mm-hmm.
There was some great college football, but more importantly, I'm excited about that 12-game playoff system.
Okay.
I'm looking at all these teams. I saw the Notre Dame and Texas A&M game, and that was a good game. I saw Miami. I'm not going to steal Santana's thunder. Ohio State. It's a lot of good teams, and I'm excited that we're going to see a playoff, and we're not going to see the same four teams. And I'm excited about
Great point.
the new playoff system is a win for college football.
Speaking of, I'm thinking about Florida State, but what BC did to Florida State.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Big win.
Man,
That's
big
embarrassing.
win.
That's embarrassing.
Shout out to Billy O.
Shout out to
Shout
Billy
out
O.
to BC. You can tell that they did some great recruiting, BC-wise, as far as just the players they have, because they didn't look like the average BC kind of players. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
They definitely had to upgrade there when it comes to their, I guess you can say the competition, that they have in the building. I'm going to keep it real. I mean, the dub of the week, no other than them Hurricanes. You know what I mean? It's one thing to say, and we hear this all the time, man, when are you going to be back? And I think, listening to Mario talk about it the other day, he didn't go out there and say, yeah, we're back because we got to win against Florida. One of the things about that rivalry, any school in Florida, when you're playing against the Florida States or, Florida Gators, it's a rivalry for Miami. So whether that team is up in the top 10 in the country or not, it's always big for us because that's one of those childhood things where it's so many guys that play together in high school or grew up together that's at those local schools. So it was a big win for us. It was a win that I thought we should go in there and play well, but I think it was a big win just going in the right direction when it comes to our program.
How about Cam Ward? Ward.
Oh, yeah.
There's not enough talk about that kid.
Work, man.
Yeah.
That kid made the game look easy. He looked phenomenal, man.
He's like, man, I thought I played in, more hostile environments in the Pac-12. He just stuck it to him. He's looking like, man, he's about to go to the league after this year. He's not worried about that. I'm going to stay local with my dub of the week.
Okay. Talk to me.
Francis Tiafoe.
Oh, yeah, homeboy.
Francis Tiafoe, yes. And
DMV.
At the time we're recording this, Francis, he just won his match to make it to the semifinals of the U.S. Open. And I tell you what, he's a big-time Commanders fan.
Yep.
Loves a lot of supports Maryland, a lot of the local teams here. But for him to be one of the first American
in a long time
to make it to the semifinals.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was actually the guy he's going against, Taylor Fritz, another American.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I guess was it Pete Sampras the last one or Andrew Roddick?
Right. I think it was Roddick is the last one.
That has won it was 2003. So it's been a long time since an American has actually won the U.S. Open. Hopefully he'll seal the deal and win it. But, that's my dub of the week. Keeping it local.
Okay.
Francis Tiafoe.
Yeah,
shout out to Francis.
Keep it going.
All right, fellas, it's time for drive time. It's time for drive time, presented by Eastern Automotive Group. Any car, any way, for everyone. since 1988. On Drive Time this week, we're going to talk about some of the, I guess you can say, the big topics of the week. You know what I mean? Those like, you know, when you say that news alert.
Yeah.
Some of those big topics. And I think one of the ones that stand out to me, we're going to keep it right here at home in the building. Sam Cosmi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sam Cosmi. They broke him off. Got extension. Well, I can't say extension, a new deal, whatever
That's
you want
an
to call it.
extension.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's an extension.
He got paid.
He got paid.
That boy got paid.
He got
But
broke off.
so we've been watching him for the last, 4 years?
Yes.
And I was I thought the guy been here for a while. You know what I mean? I didn't know he was still on his rookie deal. So that's one of the things that stood out to me. But, man, he was one of those guys that we saw. You know, we talk so much about our offensive linemen being swing players, switch players, being able to play multiple positions. And it's like he found his home at guard, man, and it's been downhill from there. So I'm happy for him. That's tip I had off to Sam Cosmi.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely, because, you know, you mentioned Sam. He was drafted to play tackle, right tackle, and then last season, well, two years ago, I should say, they kind of had him at tackle. They had him at guard. And last year, they finally settled him in, let him settle in at guard. Had an outstanding season, started all 17 games. I thought he was really the tone setter of the team.
Right.
He has an attitude. We talked about him on last week's show, him being the tone setter because of the mentality, the physicality that he plays with. I'm grateful and I'm happy, ecstatic that they got that deal done and for him to get that 4-year extension, because I feel like he's one of those cornerstone pieces. Foundational pieces.
And it's funny you say that he's only you thought he's been here for a while. That just shows you that he's like a professional, right? Yeah. Like that guy is just, we talk about it, like when you say dude, he's a dude, right? Dude. And he seamlessly, London, moved from tackle to guard. You know, that's not easy.
No, not at all.
And he's already looking like he could be a Pro Bowl caliber player, all pro caliber player for a very long time at that position in this franchise. Kudos to Coach Quinn and the staff for recognizing that we got to keep this guy as a foundational piece.
Go ahead, Tom.
You just mentioned it. I was going to say, hats off to those guys in the front office. This is what having a GM does for your team, that they're not sitting there waiting to the last minute to pull the trigger and say, we got this guy that's coming up. No, they're getting ahead of the curve and say, let's go ahead and take care of some of the guys that we have in-house who we want to be here. You know what I mean? They're going to be foundational pieces that we can go ahead and stamp now. So I was happy to see that, because we heard nothing about it, Wow. And normally you start hearing stuff about these guys before they get done. So that goes to show you what's being done in that front office, man.
Heard absolutely nothing about it. How many times do you hear? That's kudos to his agent and also the front office. The fact that they didn't just start these negotiations. The fact that these negotiations were ongoing, and you hadn't heard a peep about it.
Right.
That shows you were operating in secrecy, keeping in-house building, in-house.
And no drama. There's no drama around it. It was just like, let's just get it done.
Change a shifting in mindset. Tanner, you talked about that's the benefit of having a GM. That's the benefit of having the right GM, because so many times you see a guy who's entering the last year of his contract, guy who's performed well up until that point, yet teams still want him to go out and play.
We seeing it around the league.
We're seeing it around the league,
right?
Yeah.
And that's not fair to the player. It's not fair to show me that you really love me. And what it also does, it sends the message to the rest of the locker room.
Yeah.
These other guys, like, hey, if I perform well, they'll take care of me. They're going to extend our guys first and foremost, which is awesome. Blue, who you got? You got any headlines, man?
Hey, man, since we're on the topic of paying the man, hey, that Patrick Surtain. I know his father, Pat, and I'm a big fan of this kid. I think he's one of the top defensive backs in the league. 4 years, $96 million. I mean, another professional. When I saw that, I was just like, show the DB some love. All these receivers getting love. London, all these. You got CeeDee Lamb. You got Jefferson. You got Jamar. They got Chase wanting money. What we gonna pay the DB?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I've heard someone in the media just recently, one of the players that spoke out about, man, he wasn't knocking the wide receivers for getting all this money, but he's like, hey, the defensive backs, the cornerbacks, has the toughest job. You got to cover these guys.
Cover those
so while we're not getting paid, what these guys are getting paid. You talking
At
about
the same level, close to it.
You know what I mean? So I was happy to see Surtain get blessed that way, and just knowing that, man, he's one of the best out there. You know what I mean? I got a chance to play against his dad. I watched him in high school down there in Miami, man, and it's just crazy, man, just to see. We were just talking about this off air. Man, these numbers are godly. You know what I mean?
I'm happy for. I just wish I was born at a different time. Wish my mama met my daddy a little bit later in life.
Hey, man,
but you know what, though,
they pushed me out a little too early, huh?
Here's the thing, and us all being former players, the fact we can celebrate these guys getting paid. Like I'm not jealous of what they got. But so many times, I see it a lot on the NBA side where the former player and the current player are beefing like, your era couldn't do this and you couldn't.
Anthony Edwards made a big statement about Jordan was the only one that had skills. Them
dudes, they just were born at the right time.
Right.
It's a different game in the NBA. It's a different game in the NFL right now. Like, we all could probably play a lot longer than we played, and we all had long careers, but the way it's set up, and hey, it ain't no knock on them. That's just they're taking advantage of the situation.
For sure.
They're in.
That's the evolution of the game, though, too. I think when it comes down to it, it's different. I think you say sectors of the game that just you see that it just changed and it benefits the player a little more. I can say, like, for one, when we got in, it wasn't a lot of players playing up until 40. But it was certain guys, like, you had Jerry Rice was still playing. He was Jerry Rice with the Braves now, you know what I mean?
Come on, man. When is it Jerry Rice at the Raiders in Seattle?
Because he was still putting up 1,000 yards, man.
I love Jerry.
He was cutting grass.
The Braves.
The Braves started about Jerry.
I was like, Jerry, let it go.
He was cutting grass, though. He was cutting grass.
Let it go, Jerry.
But that's one of the things about it, man, and it's crazy that you just mentioned this. Like, you was able to play, 16 years?
16
I was able to play 14 years. Sean, how many years you played?
13.
13. See what I'm saying? So you have 3 guys that
I would have played longer if y'all didn't tease me about my practice. If y'all didn't tease me about me setting the tone, y'all should be thankful.
You were the perfect team that took care of their
I admit
players.
this now. We were jealous. We were jealous of your practice.
Nobody can do what Sean did.
As a middle linebacker, I couldn't take those practices on because I was like, man, I have to be out there.
London,
Smooth wasn't good enough to take practice.
No, London. I was never jealous of that. I used to look at Sean, I'm like, God damn it, Sean.
Now the new players, the modern day era, it's like, yeah, man, this is how you're supposed to practice, baby. Yeah, good.
Man, I'll say this. Sticking in the defensive backfield, one headline that I look at and love is DeMar Hamlin.
Yes,
safety for the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
Is starting now.
Yeah.
Wow. Think about this, man. What happened a couple years ago on Monday Night Football in Cincinnati on that field to where he is today, where he's listed as a starting safety going into their game against the Arizona Cardinals this weekend. What a tremendous story.
Shout out to those doctors. Shout out to the people that, was the first line folks that saved them, that night on the field. But people fail to realize, you got to think about it. We play a sport.
Yeah.
And, it's something that, you might take for granted, but it's things like that can happen, whether you're healthy, whether you're at your best, your all-time best. But to see, it wasn't just him. LeBron's son went through that.
Oh, yeah.
And, he actually just played a whole summer league. But you got to understand, the man was in the same situation as this other kid we talking about. So, man, just to see these guys back playing their sport, something that they did all their life as kids, and to go through something like cardiac arrest and now to be back playing this sport, man, hats off to both of them.
Yeah. Santana, I'm surprised you didn't bring up the Noah Brown signing, man.
You know what, man?
That's a big deal.
That's a great deal. And I was going to bring it up. We was talking so much about everything, but I think it's big for our team as a core. Right. You know what I mean? We look at, one of the things that Dan Quinn has talked about is I see ad nauseum about guys of their caliber, players that's tough. Right. They want to see a toughness in every room, in every different group. They don't want the receivers to be divas. No, they want to be, if you're going to be a diva, be the tough diva. Yeah. And so when you watch Noah Brown, you watch him you cut his tape on. I remember watching him a couple of years ago when he was with the Cowboys. He's a guy that plays with that gritty type of game. You know what I mean? He's going to go out there and grind and go out there and sacrifice and do some of the things that the Dan Quinn style football players have to do to go out there and be a part of his team. So I was happy to see us pick him up, just knowing that I do believe we had a room full of guys that can play. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but also, when you're talking about better in that room, here's a guy that they're familiar with. that they once coached or coached against or was on the same team with them on the same staff, and now you got a chance to get them to bring them over here. So I'm happy with him, man. And I'm looking forward to
Ohio State Buckeye.
Yeah.
You caught that. You caught that. I like that. I like that.
That's why he brought it up, too.
That's why I brought it up.
So I'm gonna get it in there somehow.
No, but as we talked when we recorded the show last week, we talked about that initial 53-man roster, and there could be some fluidity to it, some changes that took place. John Ridgway was traded to the New Orleans Saints, and then obviously acquiring or signing Noah Brown, big receiver, productive receiver. I saw him out on practice, man, on the practice field. That dude is huge, man.
Yeah, right.
But he's also got nice soft hands.
Yeah.
So
Right.
what I'm interested to see how much he'll be implemented in the game plan this weekend.
Right.
You know, seeing that he's only going to be here a little over a week going into that game, but just what he's able to do come the end of the season, that'll be great.
Yeah.
My boy Ryan Clark stays in the news.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing how Ryan is. He's like a professor now.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, he talked about Joe Witt. There's two things I saw on Ryan this week. One, you know, Joe Witt was the NFL the guy for him, and
football guy of the week.
Football guy of the week. He picked Joe Witt. So, and the second thing, I don't know if you guys saw I sent it out to the group about him talking about his first day of practice and Sean Taylor.
Oh yeah,
and they were asking him that was good. I found myself enjoying listening to Ryan more and more now.
You finally like listening to safeties.
I listened to. I actually listened to Ryan
when they were telling
I listened to Ryan.
I'll go communicate with them safeties.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm about to jump this, so I need you to protect me.
So people think the top corners, you need to know where the help is because you're scared. Yeah. No, I need to know where the help is so I can jump something and make a play. I'm going to take control.
Well, when I was told by D. Hall, he ain't telling nobody nothing. He was just jumping.
Yeah.
D. Hall wasn't telling you. He
dirty hair.
The ball.
Yeah, that's but film study though. Film study. He studied his film.
Like that.
Speaking of D. Hall, man. I live in Charlotte, so I've seen D a couple times. I've seen D a couple times, man. He's doing a great job coaching.
Great job.
Yeah.
Loving it. I didn't see him as a coach when I was playing with him.
Right.
Like I didn't see that as D's path, but he's embraced it. He got some sons down there playing some football.
Yeah.
One of his sons, they got twin boys. Hooper, other one's a football player.
Yeah, I saw that.
So D Hall's doing a great job. It wouldn't surprise me at some point if Ryan is one day talking about D Hall as being his football guy of the week. Maybe he is sent to a defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Well, I think D Hall, because I had a chance to spend a lot of time with D Hall. Been a big fan of D Hall since he was a Virginia Tech, Virginia boy, 757 kid. Always followed his career. There are some players who are good players who you don't see maybe it was a good, good transition to a coach. But when you pull the onion back or you start to peel the onion back a little bit with D Hall, once you sat down and talked to him, he loved football.
Smart.
Very smart.
Very smart. D Hall loves football, and he looks at it from a holistic approach. Like, he knows what receivers are good, defenses are good. So now he might not talk to you if he's sorry. Now you might not like his personality because he's not going to talk to all his teammates. But he looks at
I'm going to quick D Hall story, right? Yeah. You were gone by this time. Tanner, you'll remember this. We're playing the Cowboys. It was all our Cowboy games, big games. Game was in Dallas. I don't know if it was a Monday night game, Sunday night game, something. And we kept running this zero blitz called rain. The call was rain. I mean, we were running this zero blitz. At one point, I think we ran it 3 times in a row. So on the third time, we ran the second down. No, we ran the first down, second down. And it's like third and, let's call it 20. Getting ready to call it. We call it. D Hall like, man, Fletch, change it, man. And there were times where I would change the defense, like, man. But they specifically like you got to.
How many people have yelled at you to change the call? Every week we're gonna say like,
it's usually the corner.
I didn't even know y'all do that though. Y'all didn't.
Oh yeah.
Offensively, you can't get a receiver to say change.
No.
Fletcher, like you guys always changing plays.
It gets to the point where Fletcher get tired of us telling him to change the play. We just look at Fletcher. He knows.
Well, my thing is, how does that go with the DC? Like,
you don't have no choice.
I might act like I didn't hear the call. I didn't get the signal.
We don't care.
Or here's the thing too. When you get to a certain level, I can go to the defense. Hey, man, we're on the field, so we got a good understanding of, we got a feel of what might be a good call.
Yeah.
So, a blitz might be good, but a zone might be a little bit better.
I'm steady getting picked.
A little safer. Even, or if you want to run a blitz, we can run a fire zone when we got vision on the quarterback as opposed to a man.
And I'm getting picked all day. I'm tired of running around picks.
Nobody has vision on the quarterback.
No. Right.
So there were some times where I would call a different deal, but they wanted this call. Like, it was.
So you
relayed.
So you let them hey,
I can't, and he gave. I mean, and the Cowboys, because we had ran it so many times, they had a protection where they sprinted, they rolled the Romo out.
Right.
So it bought him just enough time
where
he was covering Dez Bryant, and Dez came all the way across the field. And he was able to catch the ball on D. I mean, you talking about a dude hot as fish grease?
Yeah.
Oh, man. He was hotter than fish grease, man. No. But shout out to D. Hall.
Shout out to my man D. Hall.
All right, we got to take a break right now. But when we come back, we're going to break down all you need to know about our Week 1 matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Stay tuned. Welcome back into the Players Club. Fellas, it's time to talk that Week 1 matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road. Seems like, man, we play the Bucs so much. I know during our time, it felt like they were a division opponent.
Yeah.
Right.
It was two teams we always played. I think one of them was the Bucs and the other team was Seattle.
Oh, yeah, Seattle.
It seemed like we was always either in a playoff game against these guys or we had one of them penciled in the regular season. And I think both of those times that we saw them in the postseason, we played them actually that same year. So.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I got PTSD from playing Tampa Bay, man.
We know.
It's a sore subject for me.
Since you want to bring it up,
I just gotta bring it up, man.
Elaborate a little bit.
Yeah.
I had a teammate. I died on the field down in Tampa, man. Captain Lamar Marshall, I see him to this day. I'm still mad. He set me up.
He set you up.
I got ran over by Mike Allstar.
Oh, my God.
Lamar was supposed to hit him before he got to you.
He was supposed to tell me it was a ram call bouncing. So I got ran over. But you know what hurts my feelings about that?
What's that?
Y'all some worse teammates. You know what you did? They did a body print outside my locker like a dead man, like a crime scene, man.
Hey.
Coach Gibbs, y'all remember Coach Gibbs comes into the meeting. He said, I don't know what defense this is, but this is bad defense. I got ran over so bad. Coach Gibbs told him throw the whole defense.
What he said, this is not the matchup we want.
This is not what we looking for.
He was coming downhill. Mike Allstar on you.
See, that's one of the reasons why you make business decisions like I did when I was young. Yeah, it was too late for you. But see, you was a guy that you fit the mold for a guy that needed to be in that situation. Me, myself, and I, when I used to play corner, when I got high school, I told myself, okay, do you want to be a corner in the pros, or do you want to be a receiver?
You don't want this to happen.
I'm probably not going to get no taller than this or no bigger, so I might as well stay out there and make catches and touchdowns. So you picked the right position because you were damn good at what you did, but you just wasn't thinking that moment.
He tried to get low, too.
It was too late, though. It was too late. If I would have known I actually had that gap, I would have ran in there.
Yeah.
And I waited.
I'm leaving
my
feet,
great flexibility, though. Most people would have tore their knee up.
He had a knee down.
That knee was like this. You talking about knock knee.
Yeah, man. Now, hats off to you, though, brother. I mean,
thanks, man.
You brought it up, so we got to get a little laugh out of it.
Tampa, man.
You know, when I'm thinking about Tampa, I had a lot of big games against Tampa. And then, being a guy from Florida, I've always looked forward to playing those teams that I grew up watching in Miami, either the Dolphins, Tampa, or Jacksonville. And my fondest memory, I think, was 2012. Shanahan's was still here. And we won that game at the end, the last drive. It was a 2-minute drive like no other. And I remember Kyle Shanahan. I used to love we got in 2 minutes because Kyle had a thing about setting up the offense just so when that 2-minute hit, every play was going to work.
Right.
Automatically. And he would tell you stuff before you actually was in the situation or the moment. Like, this is going to happen when you run this route. I need you to get that ball and get upfield now, because if you get upfield now, you might get another first down and give us more, room or more field so we can either kick a field goal. And I remember that drive like it was yesterday because I had a big role in that drive. So 2012 was one of those magical seasons. RG3 first year here.
Was that the game you hit him with the double move? Or that was?
So that wasn't that game. That was 2010 actually.
Okay,
that was 2010.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
2012.
Back to 2010
I was a much lighter guy that year.
Yeah.
I just told y'all about 2010. I was pushing like a 205, 210.
But you balled balled out on them that game.
No, I balled out that year
Yeah.
too. Yeah, but this what I'm saying. This goes to show you. In 2012, my role was different.
Right,
I was primarily a slot
But
guy.
you were still outside at
Yeah,
2010.
in 2010 I was outside still. But no, that game stood out to me the most is because one, it's hard to get a victory against those guys, and we was actually in Tampa and got a victory. So you see where I'm trying to lead up this thing.
Oh, we could go down to Tampa and win.
So if we was able to pull it out then, we should be able to do it now, which is probably a whole different scenery and everything when it comes to players.
I don't even remember that 2010 game.
Yeah,
I mean 2012.
2012. Yeah, it was a late game, man. It was one of those games where it was stagnant the whole game. You guys played y'all behind on.
I don't even remember that.
But
I normally remember a lot of them games.
Offensively, we wasn't doing much until the last drive. Like you guys had us right there the whole time. They didn't score a lot of points. We didn't score a lot of points, but y'all kept it close. So at the end, we was able to score and get ahead of them.
The game that I remember the most is that 2010 game, the one that was here.
But we ended up losing that game. Remember that touchdown I scored was that touchdown would have tied
We
it.
missed the field goal.
And we missed it.
And London, maybe you don't remember games you lost. Maybe that's.
We won. No, we won the 2012 game.
2012. Okay.
The reason I remember the 2010 game, I was in my bag in that game.
Yeah.
Man,
Pay that man.
So talking about schemes and all that type. In this scheme, 2010, this was the first scheme year we were in this 34 defense. And in that scheme, you'd have loved it as a corner because you ain't had to cover receivers. I cover more receivers than y'all did as a linebacker. I mean, I'm covering receivers all down the field. And I remember, man, I was just in my bag from a cover standpoint, making plays all over.
What year is this now, too? This got to be about like
2010.
12. I mean, what year for you in the league? It's got to be 12 right at this point, right?
Yeah.
About year 12. I think.
Year 12, okay.
Yeah,
so you
still had some juice. You still had some juice.
You played up until what? To what? What? Year
13 was my last year.
13?
13 was my last year.
So, yeah.
12, 13, something like that.
Yeah.
But I made a whole lot of plays in that ball game. Dang, I thought we won that game though, man.
Yeah. Now we missed the extra point to
And the weather was kind of wet outside?
It was
kind of misty.
It was one of those days. It was hot as hell, but I think it rained earlier that day or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But I do remember it because I remember one of the Barber brothers, sticking me the whole game, and I remember just looking at him. I'm saying to myself, like, this dude still playing at a high level at this state in this game, and actually. The guy who I hit up with the double move, that was your boy. He was young then.
Brian Kelly?
No, the cornerback at the time, the young buck. Can't think of his name right now.
Talib?
Yeah, Talib.
Okay.
Talib was very young, and I remember telling him after the game, like, bro, you're gonna be good. You know what I mean? Because I think that was either his rookie or probably sophomore season. And just like I talked about when I played against Revis his first year, you can always see who has it. You know what I mean? Who has that? Who made you work?
Y'all beat them in 2005 in the playoffs, though.
Yeah.
In Tampa.
In Tampa.
That had to be a heck of a game.
That was
Sean picks off the
Sean picked up a
fumble and run it back. So that was a great game.
But not only that, man, that game, it felt like it was one of the most violent games I've ever played in.
Really?
It was hard hitting. Like, I saw CP, a couple of guys on a blitz, and Porter's take them out, and I'm sitting there like, oh, this is that type of game.
Yeah.
And they looking at Porter's like, boy, you hit me like that. So now they mad, they chopping.
So All-Star hit me like that.
That wasn't the playoff game you got wrong.
I think we played him earlier in the year.
But that's one of those games, bro. That was one of those games when we came out of that game.
Tampa's
we
always
felt
physical.
good about ourselves.
Tampa's always one of them physical teams. There's some organizations that just have that reputation of being physical.
No doubt.
You want to see a physical team
all right,
now.
Let's talk though about this matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's time to set the tone. Brought to you by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. All right, fellas, it's time to set the tone.
Yeah.
Talking about this matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. On the road, opening game of the season. Todd Bowles. In his words, Redskins player. He said it a couple times in his press conference. Won a Super Bowl here. I'll tell you this. Todd Bowles is a heck of a defensive coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's going to be a tough matchup. Going in there, week one, rookie quarterback, Jaden Daniels. What do y'all think about this matchup?
I'll jump out there and just speak for some of the stuff that I know that they bring just from the offense standpoint. It's going to be a lot of, one of the things they want to do is stop the run. We know that. They play that cover 2 that we all know about. I mean, it seemed like everybody who went through Tampa plays some form of Tampa 2 or cover 2, but Todd Bowles is known for his cover 2 defense, and he's going to bring them exotic blitzes as well. You got a young quarterback.
A lot of pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure. You got a young quarterback. You have to automatically right now on Wednesday of this week saying, this is what he's finna be doing to us. We got a young quarterback. He's going to see if he can play.
He's going to blitz anybody. Young quarterback or not.
No, right.
That's what he do. Right.
No doubt.
So I would say, go ahead, Blue, and then I'm gonna touch on what you just talked about.
Go ahead. You can touch on it. Go ahead.
Well, we talked about the blitz.
Right.
And they blitz the third most times from a percentage standpoint out of anybody a season ago. One thing about when y'all going through y'all blitzes in the offense, you talk about having answers, giving the quarterback answers, quick game screens, different answers, and the answer may sometimes be as simple as throw the football away, throw the check down, things like that. Here's another thing when I think about blitzes, a way you can combat a blitz. Actually run the ball.
Run the ball.
Yeah, I was just about to say
run the ball because sometimes when you bring a blitz, if everybody is not on page about knowing where their gap is, you can gash those blitzes. So it wouldn't surprise me is if running a football is a major part of kind of combating the blitz that the Buccaneers will bring. Because you'll see times, man, I've been on defenses where we've got gashed calling a blitz because somebody don't fit that blitz right, and they move their gap, and that gap moves, and next thing you know, it's Katie bar the door. It's out the game.
Yeah, right. And London, the thing about that running the ball, let's really focus on how do you win first down? Because we know against Todd Bowles, he gets you backed up on 3rd and long, you know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you guys both are right. Like, run the ball, let's stick with it, stay consistent, see if we can win first down, get some positive yards on first down, because we don't want to end up in a situation where we're 3rd and 7 plus. Tampa last year gave up 3.8 yards per carry, which was 8th in the league.
Really good run defense.
It was a really good run defense, but you still got to at least keep them honest by running the ball. And for me, I think another thing, I want to flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. You got Baker Mayfield. 4,000 yards last year. He seems, you never know what you said earlier, you never know what you're going to give Baker. But Baker has improved over the last couple of years. I think it's 5 seasons, like 4,000 or more or whatever. Mike Evans and Goddard.
Every year, this guy had 1,000 yards.
Yeah, so he got some talent on the outside. But I like our
back,
Rashard White. But I like our matchups. You know, when you think about St. Juice, Forbes, Central, we got bigger corners. You know, Central was a little smaller guy on the inside, but on the outside, Mike Sandstrom on the inside, he's a little smaller guy, but St. Juice matches up. Forbes, all right, he got length for like Goddard. So I like that matchup, and this is a good challenge for our guys, but I like it.
I think it's safe to say too, man, when you think about it, just from the standpoint of what we talked about, from what their defense is going to present to us, the game is, and it's probably 85% of the time it's won in this area anyway. It's won in the trenches.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things that we're really going to have to see offensively and defensively. Can we go out there and dominate the game at that standpoint? So before you do anything offensively, if you ain't protecting and you ain't making those lanes for our guys to run, then you can't do nothing with the ball. And those are the two main things to do. You got to be able to block and you got to be able to pass protect. So to me, I think that's going to be something that I'm watching because I know what we went through offensively far as this offseason with our offensive line. We probably haven't upgraded it to the max of what people want, but I think we had a lot of guys that has the potential that was still here, and a few guys that we brought in, Biotic and all those guys, that can do a well enough job to go out there and have a good outing against these guys.
Man, I've been in the bunker this week, man. Just that's why I get in that lab and go watch film. And I'm glad that the season is actually finally here because I know who's going to be playing, know the starters. It's not like a preseason game. Prepping for those games is a little bit different. And so in my preparation for getting ready to call a game this weekend, I'm looking at these different matchups on both sides of the ball from our standpoint. Hey, these are the things we possibly can do offensively. These are the things we can do defensively. One of the things we talk about a lot is our offense. They don't have any idea what our offense is going to look like.
Who are we?
Under Cliff Kingsbury and Anthony Lynn run game.
I guess you can go back and look at a little bit of Arizona.
They'll look at Arizona. They'll look at
different strokes
Anthony
over
Lynn. San Francisco is one game coordinator. You don't have to look at Brian Johnson, Philadelphia, his pass game coordinator stuff, but it's still a meshing of offense to make it the Commanders' offense. So they're going to have to try to figure that out. One of the things that can help us too, especially when you have a defense like Tampa Bay, that high pressure packed defense, with that tempo, that up tempo, what it does is it forces you from a defensive standpoint
to show your hands a little
show
bit.
your hand a lot quicker. So tempo will be a part of it. I anticipate. That's just what Cliff does. So I'm not giving away, state secrets there. That'll be a part of it.
Yep.
And also to add to that, just knowing that, when you have those different packages you're bringing in, when you keeping that big guy off the field, having him running from sideline to back on the field, switching the packages up. That's something that me, Logan, and Fred talked about. Logan was bringing up when Kyle was here. He was wondering why we played the Patriots. And Logan said, man, it was odd about how Kyle just kept bringing it in different packages, keeping their linemen running off the field. And he was like, he wanted Vince to be tired.
Hey, dude, that's a big body running back.
So if you think about it, that might be
that's
key.
the first game of the season. Conditioning.
And it's going to be warm. It's going to be warm. It's going to be hot.
So,
for sure.
man, I would love to see some different packages being brought in and off the field to see that big joker run, man.
Going back to Tampa Bay's offense, they got a new coordinator, Liam Cohen. He was Kentucky's offensive coordinator last year, but he has a lot of pro experience. He was with the Rams. He was under Sean McVay.
He's a Sean McVay guy.
They're going to run a lot of the Rams type of offense on the pro level. A lot of play action pass. That's where I feel like Baker thrives. Play action pass and also quick game. He's at his worst when he has to step back and drop back pass. That's where we can take advantage of him.
A little bit of that Rams offense. You see that duel where the guards they're gonna double team those big guys in the end time. So they're gonna try to double team the big bodies and then get up to the backers. But it's gonna be interesting to see. Now we get to see our whole defense play together. We hadn't had a chance.
We haven't seen them at all.
We haven't seen them in games. We've seen them in practice, but we haven't seen them in games. And I am excited to see with this new linebacking core, that upgraded linebacking core, with that front and the depth that we have up front. I think the depth is going to have to show in this game, obviously, because it's going to be hot. We just talk about rotating people off. But I think we have enough depth where we can keep those guys fresh and playing hard all 4 quarters.
In this game, you talk about the D-line, defense in general. I think Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen, hopefully Jonathan Newton, don't know what his stat is going to be. The interior tackles have to dominate this ball game versus the run and also against the pass because you have a shorter quarterback in Baker Mayfield. No quarterback likes pressure in his face.
No doubt.
When you have a guy, as Baker's, think 6 foot, maybe 6'1" at the max, you get pressure in his face, he gets uncomfortable.
Right.
He'll give you some opportunities to catch that football. He'll take some chances, and there'll be some balls up in the air to be.
And to that point, that's what we've been talking about. Joe Witt's defense, with that opportunistic defense that we've seen or that's been under Dan Quinn, we want to see it now. We get to see it. We're going to get to see if they're going to make some plays out there. And that's.
I'm actually excited to see how our cornerback play step up this year,
right?
Because we talked about last year how it was just like almost giving, stealing from a baby. You giving it away at times because you had the size, you had the ability, but you didn't see those guys play aggressive. And now with this defense, watching them on the other side when these guys was over there in Dallas, how aggressive they play, how it seemed like they was always in the right position to make a play because of what Joe Witt talked about, saying just watching film and telling his guys like, hey, you get ready for the ball. It's coming out right now. So I want to see our guys play with those same type of opportunities.
This London. So we talk about Bowles and he got to learn the new offensive scheme, trying to figure out what we're going to do on the offensive side of the ball. How about now having Joe Witt as a coordinator? What does that do to the offensive coordinator at Tampa? How do you see that playing in our favor, or if that plays in our favor?
I don't see it as being as big of a difference.
Okay.
In terms of, I hope they're only looking at Dallas stuff and assuming that this is only going to be what we are, because I think that's to our advantage. But what they'll do, they're going to look at Dallas defense the last 3 years. That's what they're going to have to go off of. That's what Joe Witt came from. But hopefully we have some stuff we haven't shown. I know it's some stuff we haven't shown. So, we may have been a high Dallas last year, played a ton of man-to-man. Yeah, we were a lot high man-to-man. but maybe we got a little bit more zones in Rickett and them, more combination coverage.
Right.
Maybe some more pressure, things that they haven't kind of, pegged us to be from a defense standpoint.
Yeah.
And personnel groupings. We talk a lot about personnel grouping, versatility of, especially at the safety spot.
Yeah.
Got a lot of guys that can play a bunch of different places, a lot of different packages you can put on the field. So how are we going to utilize all that talent we have at that safety position?
Right.
Those are things we got to think about, man.
Got to think about it, man.
Lot to kind of unpack, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Lot to kind of unpack. Tanner, I'm surprised at you, man. We ain't even talked Terry yet.
Yeah, man. I mean,
I know. I mean, you know what, Tanner? Tanner leaving the receivers out today,
Yeah.
man. That ain't like Tanner.
Nah, you got first things first.
We talked to Lil Jada.
First things first. We had to address what we had to address. But I mean, I know it always come around to me some kind of way. That's the kind of player I was. One way or another, you gotta give me the ball, right? One way or another. So y'all want to talk about Terry? Let's talk about him. I mean, what are you guys expecting? I know I'm expecting. One of the things I talked about earlier this week, and with Terry, I'm looking forward to seeing how this offense try to, I guess you can say, not say thrive around him, but feed him a little more. I think in the past, man, we knew what he was. And it almost reminded me of watching myself at times where you have a staff that know that you're dynamic with the ball in your hand. You can make almost every play, but we're going to wait. Now, I don't want to see these guys wait. I want to see him off the rip, get this man his opportunities, because I think what it does for this offense, especially a young quarterback, you allow them to know that, guess what, I'm coming to him. And what that do defensively, if you want to roll that coverage to him, now I got all these other guys that I can feed to. And I know just watching Jaden from his collegiate years and a couple of sample sizes that we saw practice-wise and in the preseason, he's a great reader. He knows how to manipulate that defense and get you to thinking that I'm going one place and find an open guy. So, I think Terry's going to be vital in both. Being that decoy at times, but also, stepping up big when we come to him.
Tampa too, London, we talk about, the Mike has to run the seam. Oftentimes, the tight end is a big factor in a Tampa 2 defense. I mean, Zach Ertz, he could be a factor in this game.
Zach Ertz and our running backs.
He could be a major factor in this game.
And our running backs.
Oh, yeah.
Out the back
B-Rob. We got B-Rob coming up on the show, so definitely.
Right.
B-Rob going to be a major factor in this show. We haven't even touched on special teams, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we haven't touched on special teams, and we know a lot of times it comes down to the special teams aspect.
Right.
Got a new kicker,
Yeah.
K. York. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns a year ago. Got a big leg, strong leg. Went through a little bit, some issues in Cleveland, but seems to have gotten himself together, showing why he was deserved to be drafted in the 4th round.
In a close game, you're going to need him.
Yeah,
we know it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
Jamison Crowder, punt returner.
Yeah, punt returner.
And it looks like Pringle's going to be I think he's listed as the number 1 kick returner. I don't know if that's going to be the case or not.
Yeah, Pringle's a playmaker regardless. I'm interested. I'm interested more so in just seeing this new way of going about things kickoff-wise, you know what I mean? Just to see how this thing is going to really look in a live game. We've seen it in the preseason, and, it's just one of those situations where now you really get to go out here and show how this is going to benefit our game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How is it going to benefit those guys who are kick returners, and do we see a increase in returns this year from the years before?
Hey, so our producer, Maddie, part of this show, she's like, hey, what new commanders are you excited to see? We got so many new commanders.
Right.
We got 7 new starters on offense.
Yeah.
7 new starters on defense. I mean, obviously, Jaden.
Yeah.
Yep.
Extremely excited to see him. But
I think defensively,
I got to say Bobby. I got to say Bobby.
Well, you know what you get with Bobby. Come on, man. You can't go on Bobby.
I say Lou, Bobby.
We got to see what Armstrong does on a consistent role.
Yeah.
Because you mentioned it.
Yeah.
He was at Dallas where he made plays, but he wasn't like the consistent starting primary guy. So now we get to see that.
He worked his way up to be where he's at now. So I'm pretty sure any guy like an Armstrong, which we probably was all Armstrong one time in our career. Where
I never was. But
you never subbed. You never came in as a young buck See, now this is, hey, so viewers, this is what I'm talking about.
Fact check
you get from Bluefoot.
That's why they call me the superstar. Never happened.
This is what you get from a guy who
Day one starter.
He didn't play long enough to be a role player.
Never.
You know what I'm saying?
Never.
He was the number 3 pick overall.
I came out the womb. I came out the womb matching up, Tim. My first matchup against Jerry Rice. But keep going.
See, here you go.
Shut him down.
Well,
he had 3 catches for 17, by the way. But keep going.
Well, to get back to my point is, a guy like Armstrong has worked for this moment.
Yeah.
Worked to be in this, this position to be a starter. So I'm looking forward. I want to see him rise to the challenge.
I'll say this, Mikey Satterstrom.
Yes.
Because he's going against this receiving core.
Yeah.
That the Buccaneers have. They're no slouch. Like they'll match. It might be some situation where he's matched up with Mike Evans, who's 6'4", 6'5". 6'5". It may match up with Godwin. It may match up with McMillan. So, and what we've seen thus far from Mikey in the preseason, also in practice, he looks like he's ready for the moment. So I'm most excited to see him in this type of game, a true football game, because he makes plays on the football. He's not afraid to tackle. Yeah. But he has this way about going about making plays on the football field.
The guy we got coming on the show today is a superstar in the making.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
B-Rob.
He's not a new commander.
That's not a new commander. That's true. Okay, he's not a new commander.
He's new to Sean, and Sean new to here.
He's not new to me, but I'm just excited about this kid, man. Yeah. But new commander's right.
The new role that he'll have.
Yes.
The new offense.
New offense.
Because there were times, man, like we go against some teams and they might be the 30th ranked run defense in the NFL. We wouldn't run the ball.
It's unheard of.
Like, what?
Guy come out again with 9 carries.
This ain't that hard.
Going to halftime with 5 touches. Like, come on. Like,
what are we doing?
Got to be for real.
Perplexing.
Yeah.
I expect B-Rob to be sore after some games. What about Noah Brown?
Oh yeah,
Another new receiver.
Yeah,
new commander.
Not sure how this lineup is going to be, far as wideouts wise. I'm looking forward to seeing who's in the lineup when they bring the 3 receivers on the field. Who's going to be the number 2 guy? It's like I said, we have options, and then you're bringing in him. Obviously, he's one of those guys that they want to see on the field. So
new guy Eckler, third down.
Eckler's the guy who can play more than one third down. Yeah. That joker's strong as an ox.
Yeah, he can.
And very smart, too.
Oh, yes.
He's the guy we might have to talk to about the tech company he has. He has a new little...
I just saw that on Next Man Up.
I just saw that,
Speaking of...
I got to holler at you, Eckler.
Y'all gotta tune in. Next Man Up podcast hosted by Brian Kober. I was out getting my exercise on. Yeah, Sean, I'll exercise.
Yeah.
I was out getting my 6-mile walk in. And I was listening to Brian Kober Jr.'s podcast, Next Man Up. And he had Eckler on there. And I'm like, man, this dude is sharp as what. I also listened to he had CP on there as well. Clinton Portis was on that episode. Yeah. And then I also listened to the one where he had Jaden Daniels and Doug Williams on there. So shout out. We gonna promote our other shows as well. Definitely worth listening to.
BC.
Yeah, man. All right, man. Let's go ahead. It's time to take a break. When we come back, we got the Brian Robinson Jr. coming up on the show.
This is your Ice Cold Player, brought to you by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders.
Welcome back to the Players Club. We got our special guest, Brian Robinson Jr. or B-Rob.
That's the man right there.
This is your second time on the show, man. Left you hanging.
Yeah, good job. Good job, B-Rob.
First of all, I want to congratulate you on winning the Emmy. Last year, winning the Emmy for your documentary, Warrior, which you helped produce, talk about your life story. Yeah, I love that. Produced in conjunction with our team here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was it like winning the Emmy, man?
Actually, it was a big surprise. I wasn't expecting it. They just sent me a text message, was like, "Hey, we got something for you at the facility." And when I asked what it was, it was like, you got an Emmy for the the story, and I'm like, an Emmy? Like, when was y'all gonna tell me this?
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I got the Emmy now, and it still don't seem real. You know? So it's like.
Especially not knowing that, basically you just telling your truth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That whole story was basically, I guess, taking all the listeners and viewers through your journey of what you had been through, from a situation that occurred. So that was big, man.
Well, B-Rob, everybody know your story about, when I think about you, man, I just think about perseverance, resilience. Everybody know how you hung in there in this day and age where most kids would have left this program like Alabama, went somewhere, get here to Washington, you have your incident. Coming into this year, we've been talking about you on the set, like you the X Factor, you a superstar in the making. Man, like what's that inner resilience, that inner personality like? Is it Tuscaloosa in you, brother? What is it, man, that makes you?
Bro, I'm just overly invested into this game. I'm overly invested into my craft, like regardless of, the circumstances of like what I went through. I still don't make no excuses for the stuff that I aspire to do. So like, I'm not sitting up here saying like, oh, just because I went through this, I'm not going to be able to accomplish the other things that I've been wanting to accomplish my whole life before I even got a chance to step foot into the NFL. So I aspire to still do all these great things, and I don't see my
where that come from, man? Mom, grandma, what's the story, man? Tuscaloosa, the barbecue spot in Tuscaloosa. What's going on, man?
Like I just put that name on my back, man. Like straight up, I've seen my family sacrifice, numerous times, for me and what I wanted in my life, and I feel like, this is my opportunity to, put everything I got, back on the line. So, for them, and sacrifice for, the name on my back. Sure.
Get an opportunity to watch you this offseason, looking at you in training camp, the limited action we've seen in preseason, and you was running that rock, man.
Yeah.
What, for you, how are you feeling that week one is finally here? And you talked to me off camera, like, man, like you feeling really good. What's it like being in this offense? What are you anticipating? How things going? What's it feel like being?
I can't even like words can't explain how excited I am just to get going, man. Right. Like y'all seen all the differences, everything that have changed, this off season, and I couldn't have got a pencil and put it together better than they have.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's just been great. The energy been great, and you could tell they behind you, and they want you to go out there and be the best version of yourself. So like that makes me want to play for you more.
So awesome. Speaking of change, like how was that process? I think we all have experienced that once in our career, or me numerous times in my career, where it's a new staff come in, and you knew how you was with the old staff. You was one of their guys, and now you get a new staff that got to learn you all over again. What was that process like?
Actually, it was a challenging process, but like that's nothing new to me, and I appreciate that because they came in, and it was like we figured that you can do all of these things. Now, like that's great because I want to be able to show you.
That's right.
Well, I feel like you already know, but I still want to be able to show you firsthand, like who I say I am.
When you talk about doing all those things, one thing that you was actually talking about your ability to catch balls well before you actually was able to showcase. Even last year, I think you caught like about 35, 36 balls. But what I've noticed about you is when he catch it, like he got naturally soft hands. Like some guys catch the ball, but it's not natural, man. You look like a natural out there catching that rock.
Like that's something like, bro, like behind the scenes, man, I'm always working on just being a natural with the ball in general. Whether it's catch, it don't matter how the ball get presented. You know what I'm saying? I just want to be natural with the ball. Period. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's catching it or handing it off. Like I've been taking handoffs since I was 5 years old. Why do I still have to continue to try to sharpen up taking a handoff? Like it don't take nothing to take a handoff. So to bring that balance to my game, I just been working on them hands, man.
So you obviously, as a player, you always working on your game. You talked about handoffs, talking about catching the ball. What's a new addition? What's next for you? What's the evolution of your game?
The evolution of my game is for just to see that I literally don't have to come off the field for nothing. Like it don't matter what. It don't matter what. Cliff called in the playbook. I can be on the field for it. Whether it's slot, whether it's it really don't matter. Third down protection. I understand fronts. I understand all the type of blitzes you can try to bring at me, and I'm gonna step up and put my nose in it. So like with that being said, like I really don't have to come off the field for anything. You know what I'm saying? So
glad you mentioned that because to me, that's not the elephant in the room. I don't think so because you've had this role before with another back, but having an Eckler now in the room with you, a guy that's a veteran, you watch them play. I'm not sure of you, but you're running back, so you see all the running backs that kind of do what you do. I'm sure you watched him from afar in his career when he was in, I guess you can say, LA, the Chargers. I don't want to say San Diego, but I say the Chargers. What is it like having him in the room, and what does he bring to, y'all room and what you probably going to be able to use on the field?
Austin is probably the perfect compliment to me that I could ask for. Just what his mix-up is, his quick, twitchy, mix-up, and like, when people see me, they expect to see the power and the physicality, which I'm going to apply that. But Austin, he still has the power as well as the speed and the agility as well. So just having that balance, like I said, I can wear guys out. He can come in and just put his speed and also use his power on guys. So like, it's been a perfect balance, honestly.
That's good.
Yeah. This week, we talked earlier on the show about foundational pieces. We think you're a foundational piece. Cosmi, your teammate. A big for you to have success, you got to have the big boys up front. What does it mean for you to know that you got that guy around for a few more years blocking for you, man?
That's a great feeling too. You know what I'm saying? I know what type of guy Sam is. He come to work every single day. You know what I'm saying? He's motivated about what other guys do around him as well. So just continuing it to push him and for him to continue to push me. Man, we're just gonna continue to elevate, year after year. You know what I'm saying? I expect him to take another step. He expect me to take another step, and we right on the same page with that.
Yeah, definitely a foundational piece, both of you guys. But, we appreciate you coming and joining us on this segment of the Players Club. Like you, I don't know if you remember, we like to have our guys sign a football. So we're going to ask you to sign another football for us for the season 3, episode 2, man. We appreciate you coming out, and that's a wrap, man. We appreciate y'all tuning in for another episode of the Players Club. See y'all same time next week.
So, appreciate y'all, man.
Good show, man.